Okay, we're back online. I promise I'll come back and make some videos. I had some friends asking me what happened to your videos, and I've just been busy. So anyhow, I wanted to comment on the Iranian situation there, the U.S. and Israeli war against the Iranians. So right now, as if we speak, the Hormuz is still closed, and it's going to remain closed for the foreseeable future. I don't see it reopening for a little while, whether it's because of what the Iranians are doing or what the U.S. side is doing by blockading the blockade. So it's going to be probably another couple of months before things calm down, because the reason for that is because the midterms are approaching very fast, and I think the Republicans are getting worried about having too many losses in the next midterm cycle. And that's understandable because the war is not popular with even Trump's MAGA base. So even they're upset because of the high fuel cost that's associated with it, and there's other fertilizer shortages and things like that. A lot of things are brewing, but this was not supposed to be done the way that I would have done it. But the way Israelis kind of convinced Trump to go and decapitate the regime there, I would not have done that, because the regime needed to be dealt with in a different way. That particular regime with Ayatollah Khamenei, right, the one that was taken out in the airstrikes, was in fact against the nuclear weapons. So it was his fatwa that actually stated that Iran did not need a nuclear weapon, despite of what the hardliners were telling him. Like when you talk to the other individuals related with the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard, and some of the other members of parliament, they would have really liked to see the nuclear weapons. But the late Khamenei was against it, and a lot of people don't realize that. That said, us going to war with the Iranians and attacking them is a war of choice. Meaning we didn't have to do it, right? We did it because the U.S. side was kind of pressured by the Israelis to go and attack Iran because they see them as kind of a regional threat. And the Iranian side simply is very threatened by this attack. They see this war against them as an existential threat. So that said, they are going to fight pretty hard. No one thought that they were going to attack the GCC countries, but they did. They took out most of the bases there. They're basically worthless right now. The 13 GCC bases that we had there. The Fifth Fleet is gone. All the bases have been neutralized. There's virtually nothing there anymore. So they succeeded in doing that because they saw this as an existential threat. They made it very clear the first go around that if you attack us again, like before February 28, they were stating that we are going to fight pretty hard, and they did. They launched a lot of attacks against Israelis, devastated quite a bit. I mean, because of the censorship, we can't see what the damage really was. But most sources tell us that coming out of the Israelis, that are pretty devastating, shocking, results there as far as from the bombing, the Iranian bombing. Their missiles were extremely effective. They were extremely precise. thanks to some of the Chinese technology they were using. Remember, the Chinese are using the Iranians, are using the Chinese GPS system called the BeiDou. BeiDou is the equivalent of our GPS. It's extremely precise, and it's actually more precise than our GPS because it uses 50 satellites versus 30 of what the GPS uses. So it's very effective and very accurate. So you could see we were pretty pleasantly surprised with some of the accuracy that Iran displayed in this last go-around before the ceasefire. Because they were extremely precise the way they hit some of the AWAC planes, some of the other buildings that they targeted. Well, they were pretty precise. And that's thanks to the Chinese BeiDou, technology there. That's very sophisticated. So going on to moving onto the Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz, Iran figured out in this go round that it had never closed the Strait of Hormuz prior to this, right? So it figured out that this is a better nuclear option for them, and they will exercise this in order to let the international community know that you cannot attack us, the U.S. cannot attack us without severe consequences to the international community. And they're making very clear. If you look at the devastation that's being caused by the lack of all the goods and the oil being transported from the Persian Gulf area, it's pretty evident in the Southeast Asia area with South Korea, Japan, the Philippines, Thailand. They're all going to, they're suffering with shortages. Some of them are on their last 40 days of fuel supply, and they are starting to panic. Japan is also starting to panic because it gets 80% of its oil from the Persian Gulf. So it is very dependent on the oil coming out of the Gulf. And India as well is extremely upset from this. It somehow didn't play its cards right. On the other hand, Pakistan has played its diplomatic role clearly with them staging the talks between U.S. and the Iranians. So it's not going to be over soon. I think this will continue on. The ceasefire is holding, but the ceasefire, in my opinion, they are going to go to blows again. Something kinetic is about to start again. It's just a matter of time. Because think about it in this way. Why would Trump send all this hardware to the Middle East and not use it? It costs a lot of money to send all this. That's moving towards the Middle East right now. We can clearly see it, that everything is being maneuvered. And yeah, the 2 weeks of ceasefire helped tremendously to recoup and kind of reload, so to speak, for both sides. If you look at what the Iranians were doing through the satellites, we could see, right? Through the open source satellites, we could see that the Iranians were digging out all their former launchers. They were actually trying to recoup and reload, just like the United States and Israeli side is doing. So Strait of Hormuz is going to be closed. I think the Iranians are getting very edgy about the blockade that Trump imposed on them. So they are starting to kind of recalibrate their situation, and they're telegraphing some of this, that look, our patience is going to run out and we're going to start firing back again. So right now, it is the ceasefire is holding, but here's what happened, right? The last 24 hours, Trump received a phone call from Putin, and it was no one really knows the exact tone of this conversation, but Putin warned Trump that if he was to restart the war again, it could be devastating for the region, one, and two, it could have severe impact on the rest of the global community. So he made that very clear to him. It was a long conversation. From what I hear, it's about an hour, hour and a half, possibly even 2 hours that they spoke on the phone. And Putin had conveyed that to Trump, that you may want to consider not restarting the war again. So that said, this is gonna go back to some kind of a kinetic situation in the next day or two here. Most people were predicting by this weekend, meaning today, Friday. I'm recording this on the 1st of May. So in the afternoon here in Central Time. So we were all thinking that by now something would, right after the closing bell, when the stock market closes, I think the bombing will start right after that, a few hours, maybe an hour or two after that, because it won't affect the markets at that point. So at least till Monday. So it's going to continue for a little while. Trump is starting to realize that aside from the conversation with Putin, he's starting to get pressure from the right, from his own base, where they are starting to panic now because they are realizing that if this thing continues, there could be a severe problem for them during the midterms. They could end up losing a lot of seats, and they could end up losing the Senate. And what could happen is Trump could get impeached at that point and probably get convicted in the Senate, because I think the Democrats have at least that hope that they would end up getting the Senate and the House, the majority in the House. And they might as well, at this point, they might as well get it, because nothing is happening on the war as far as Trump backing out and all that. Why would he be sending all this hardware there? You have to look at it very logically and say, okay, we're moving all this equipment towards the Middle East. There must be a reason for it. So it was a time to reload and recoup, re-energize, so to speak, and then both sides kind of go at it for a little while. And that is, in the short term. The medium term, as I said, it could stop right before the midterms. It's a good possibility. Say by August time, this whole thing could come to a halt, at least till the midterms are done. So they can at least salvage some of these seats that are out there that are vulnerable on the Republican side. So that said, I'm going to continue. I have been out for a while. I'm going to try to... I've just been busy with work, so I couldn't make any videos since the start of this war, about 60 some odd days ago, February 28th. We monitor everything closely, but it's very hard for me to get away from work and then come and make videos. The news was heavily impacted by the war in the Persian Gulf. So I'm going to try to come back and make some more videos, kind of giving you my point of view on certain things. At least my viewers like my own view. And there's a lot of people out there that are experts in their area that come out. There's some Intel experts there and stuff. We don't really have any classified information. We just kind of give you opinion in what we think, or from our analysis, what could happen as far as the present and future of this war. So that said, thank you for watching. I'm going to come back and try to make another video. Please subscribe, and that way we're increasing in our subscription. We got about we're hitting up to 20 or close to 3,000 subscribers, hoping to get close to 10,000 soon. And then as soon as I get to the 10K marker, I'm going to start making a lot more videos and take it much more seriously at that point. So thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and see you on the next one.